Fox News alert tonight. The New York Times is reporting that Special Counsel Robert Mueller will accept written communication from the president in the Russia investigation. According to those who were briefed on this letter, they told the Times, quote, the tone of the letter and the fact that the special counsel did not ask for written responses on obstruction prompted some Trump allies to conclude that if an interview takes place, the scope will be more limited than President Trump's legal team initially believed. Senator Lindsey Graham, Senate Judiciary Committee member, very busy day for him, joins us now. Good to see you tonight, Senator. Thanks for being here.
Just left the circus, so it's good to be with you.
Circus, yeah. Exactly.
Been in the clown car all day.
Let me just get your response to that first. What does that signal to you?
Sounds like they're making some serious efforts to negotiate an interview, but it also means to me that Mueller's not going to issue a report before the election now because we're so close to the election. If they're still negotiating about talking to the president, most likely you won't get a report until after the election.
And they implied that they would like a written response. They would agree to a written response with regard to collusion.
Sure.
But they left the door open when it came to obstruction of justice. Does that mean they still would like to speak to him personally about that?
It's pretty hard to read the tea leaves there, but I've seen no evidence of collusion. The fact that they would take written responses to collusion tells you pretty much there is no collusion. In terms of obstruction of justice, it's almost impossible to prove that this president had a corrupt motive for firing Comey because almost every Democrat wanted him fired. There's plenty of Democrats who told the president and the nation, you need to get rid of Comey because he's incompetent.
All right, let's get to the hearing, which
yeah,
was
my favorite part.
You called it a circus. Here's a little bit of your introductory remarks today.
This is shaping up to be the hypocrisy hearing, and that's hard to do in the Senate in today's time.
What did you mean by that?
Well, when the shoe's on the other foot, they have a different view of this. In 1994, when Clinton was under investigation, I remember it well, he nominated Stephen Breyer to be chief member of the Supreme Court. They didn't halt the hearing. They said it was okay to go forward. There are so many examples here of when the shoe is on the other foot. Joe Biden cited Kavanaugh's article about you should not indict a sitting president. You should leave that up to Congress. It shouldn't be a decision by a single prosecutor. So Brett Kavanaugh, who's going to destroy the republic because of his views on executive power, Joe Biden used his article on behalf of President Clinton. There's 1,000 examples of where the shoe was on the other foot. They did something differently.
All right. So tomorrow we dig into the questioning,
yeah.
And we'll be there to watch all of that unfold as it gets underway. So today, a big decision from Governor Ducey in Arizona. You obviously were so close to John McCain and spent all of last week essentially remembering Senator McCain. What are your thoughts on what Arizona has decided to do here?
They've taken John's wingman, John Kyle, who's steady as a rock, solid conservative, who tries to solve hard problems, and let him finish out his good friend's term. It makes a lot of sense to me. And come January, we'll get somebody that will be able to run in 2020. But Governor Ducey did the people of Arizona a great service. It's a vote for Kavanaugh. Today, the big winner was Trump in the hearing, and the big loser was the Democratic Party, because if this is their approach as to how to govern, they're going to have a hard time in 2020.
There was a lot of campaigning going on up there, right?
A lot. So if you're running for president as a Democrat, you've got to please the people doing the yelling. I think the country is tired of the yelling, and they'd like us to get things done. And at times, Donald Trump drives me crazy, but he's produced. And Kavanaugh is the single best legal mind of his generation. Any Republican president would have picked him. He's as equally qualified, if not more so, than Sotomayor and Kagan. At the end of the day, when they're in charge, they expect us to vote for their judges. But when we win an election, we're supposed to appoint liberals. It doesn't work that way. Kavanaugh is going to be on the Supreme Court. Well done, Mr. President.
All right. So, you know, there's always some palace intrigue, and there's a new Bob Woodward book that has come out.
Yeah.
Very hot quotes that came out of the book today, and a lot of response to them. Then there was a phone call between Bob Woodward and President Trump where they were trying to iron out why they weren't able to sit down and have an interview for this book. And here's what they said.
Senator Graham said he had talked to you about talking to me. Now, is that not true?
Senator Graham actually mentioned it quickly on one meeting. I'm just hearing about it, and I did hear from Lindsay, but I'm just hearing about it. So we're going to have a very inaccurate book, and that's too bad.
No,
but I don't blame you entirely.
Be accurate.
All right.
So fill in the blanks. Did you encourage him to sit down with Bob Woodward?
We were playing golf. I told the president, Woodward's writing a book about your president like he has everybody else. I think he wants to talk to you. My view, you might want to have your side of the story, but that'd be up to you. The president nailed it. It was a brief intervention, and the president was right. It was a brief conversation about Woodward's writing a book. I think he wants to talk to you. Might be good.
Do you think
I'll let you decide.
Do you think it would make a difference?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I know this, that Donald Trump's not going to win or lose because of this book. He's going to win or lose based on what he does for the country. So far, so good.
Senator Lindsey Graham, thank you for joining us tonight. Always good to see you. Brett Baer and I will see you again tomorrow morning for day 2 of the Supreme Court nominee. Brett.